Okay, guys, welcome. So I want to do a run through quickly. This is primarily going to be based for the guys that are trialing the EAX at the moment. And just to update my understanding as well, just to the current members. Um, so how it works, of course, once you've arrived, everything exists inside the WAP. So your indicators when you're looking to try and claim your indicators, it's in the WAP. Your this EAX tool is inside the WAP. All the lessons are inside the WAP. So just know that whenever you're looking for something, just go have a look at your Easy Algo subscription and you'll find whatever you need there. In this section, you got the EAX. When you open it up, it's an embedded screen. And in this embedded screen, you can use a chair, or otherwise you can click the pop out, and the pop out opens. I'll just do it to show you. Pop out opens the actual full screen. So this works if you're on your PC and you do have the WAP open, which fundamentally is enough, but obviously some people want to use it on their mobiles or on another computer or something. So for that reason, we created an off site with using your mem ID. Okay, for just to get going, how it works is we've taken the top 42, it should be 42 there, 41 tokens that's had the most movement, but we've actually revised it to a point where only if it meets a certain amount of criteria that we're looking for, and the criteria is all based on the Easy Algo confluence indications or levels that we look at. And if it pulls through and it has enough data, if it's moving fast and has enough data, it'll pull through. So it's only taking the top 41 tokens. We have just a few exchanges that most people use. These have been the ones that have been requested. So you can obviously select your specific exchange. They will differ, obviously, depending on what tokens are within that top framework. We've just recently done futures or perpetuals and a spot toggle. And that's obviously just independent users can decide depending on what they do trade. So that one was a great addition recently we've done. How this works. Okay, so it's a RSI heat map. So we've got a overbought, oversold area. And then in your center, you've got your closest high time frame proximity level. So your daily or your weekly fair value gap. And price obviously moves from the expansion point further below or above. So that's how it works from left to right. And obviously your resistance and your support's always based on your overbought and oversold. So what it can mean, of course, is even if it's above the fair value gap on the right-hand side, price is not in a position based on the last or 14-day candle indications. That's what determines the support or resistance for it to be considered a potential for it to fall back to this position. What is a good opportunities to look for would always be in the top right-hand corner when it's in an oversold and hitting resistance, two indications of why price might return or fall, and so vice versa. So that's actually what it does mean. And also for some of our guys, and we've had this conversation quite a bit, it generally just means, the last 14 days haven't actually brought the price down to a position where it still needs to be balanced. So it's still hitting a support system. So yeah, just so you're more clear on that. I've been trying to figure this one out as best as I can. And yeah, I thought that was quite a good way to explain it. If you scroll over the actual tokens on the chart, you'll see all of the data that it brings through is based on the criteria that we are looking for from the Easy Algo as well. Of course, I mean, this in general is just your trading information. Going down to your swing point detection. Swing point detection is based on the SMC and ICT model that Seth had developed. And this was the swing points, identifying your swing points was a very big, how can I say, automation interest that Seth wanted to build. And this was all his own personal design. How it works is that it identifies on these different time frames, your 1 hour, your 4 hour, or your daily. It identifies candle two and where the neck or where price is in relation to candle two. And obviously at this point, you can actually see in the three candle formation where the candle three is. So if the candle three shows a displacement, then this would be an indication of reversal on a 1 hour time frame. 5 minute, 1 hour, for instance, in this frame. If price is, let's say, there, if you see it's gone above, this would be a failure and it did displace and obviously is in continuation. So you wouldn't be looking for reversal at this position. So it'll show you on the 1 hour there, on the high, it's swept the high, it's in continuation. So that's for how this is used. And of course, if you're looking at the higher time frames at this position, usually the swing starts to happen on the lower time frame, and then we'll confirm on the higher, confirm on the one that's even higher. At this point, you would have already gotten your bias of an indication of knowing where price is going to potentially enter into a continuation trade. However, what I've actually started to look more into about with the swing is I like to look to see, especially if, for instance, you're starting to indicate like you're looking at your RSI levels. So if you can get a high RSI level, somewhere like late 70s, 79, for instance, and you got an indication and a swing point there with a candle expansion. So this would be of interest to me because let me just see here. So it's not indicating on the higher time frame here, which means RSI levels high and the potential for a reversal or the beginning or to catch the reversal at the start is quite possible. So that's actually, digging more into this was how I like to use it. Of course, you can use it to do continuation trades. If you have a confirmation on a 4 hour, obviously you can look to a 1 hour and then do a 5 minute, 1 hour continuation trade once the bias is obviously swept. And then, of course, you can use it for the high and the low swings as well. So it works both ways to do the reversal for a long or a reversal for a short. The filters, if you like to ensure that you're looking for dual confluence, say for instance, the RSI levels, you can look for the RSI levels for the swing point. So basically that's pretty much what I was indicating here. So 66, fairly high. And 34, obviously fairly low. This is in the middle. In the middle obviously shows you on the daily, which means it's had quite a move already. So usually you'll find your highest or your lowest to start in these positions. And of course, top movers, most movement in the token for the day, key levels being anything close to a fair value gap or support resistance, or proximity to your sweep level. So either your weekly or daily high or low. Okay, moving on. So I hope that's great. I've actually tried to clarify that a little bit more than since last time. But okay, moving on. The coin summary levels. So all of these tokens above here are listed below in a list form. And in the list, this will give you, for instance, if you're looking at this one, you'll only get the highest confluence or the highest time frame criteria that'll pull through. However, if you actually click on any one of these tokens, TA, for instance, it'll open up that actual chart itself. and then you can actually look into finer details. So for instance, that drop down wouldn't have shown the lower time frame information. So you can get into more detail on the list side of things. The drop-down charts allows you to have a look to see what in relation to it's saying, what it means. So there's your weekly fair value gap, your daily fair value gap, pivots, and then, of course, your price in relation to what that is. So it's a good place to start before you take it, obviously, to the workbench to do your TA. Filters, I've got your bias. So your bias is basically indications of where the price is. So your weekly would be your weekly candle. It's swept a high. And if it indicates the R, it means it's in reversal. So it'll be below the sweep. And same goes for the low. If it's swept the low and its price is above the low sweep, it'll be indication that it's reversing. So price with SMC is based on the ideas that it sweeps highs and lows on the highest time frame, and then obviously you look for entries on the lower time frame. So that's how that aspect works. You can obviously select the filters according to what you're looking for, your personal preferences. So you've got the filters that help you with the RSI and the bias as well. And of course, the swings above that you can use together. Okay, then looking at the pivots, we know how the pivots work, obviously indications of whether the weekly is narrow or wide. So it'll give you, most of the time, once price is expanded at this point, it would have come off a narrow. Or if it's settling, it'll indicate a wide one. That's what I found. Proximity would be to key levels that we have identified. So it'll be your daily level, your previous day high or low, previous week high or low. And your fair value gaps are your higher time frame levels. So either your daily or your weekly. Sometimes your monthly as well. Very unusual, obviously, just with some stable coins are more likely to achieve that, but I haven't seen it before. And then your support and your resistance. So it pull through your proximities to these areas, and the closer it is to them, it would be orange, and then next, a little bit further than that would be shown yellow. A little further than that would be green, and then obviously within no proximity, it will have no color on it. So just the charting on, if you wanted to just go for support and resistance, for instance, and looking specifically for 3, for instance, monthly resistance 3, there will be an indication, and then you could obviously take this. We can just pull this through anyway, put it to a list. Look at it. Of course, you need to have a look at all the data once you have it. So I like to, in fact, I like to start with the chart. And so far I've pulled out a few that we can work with, and yeah, just have a look to see what it shows when you do have a look at these areas. You can, of course, ask any questions if you wouldn't mind just putting it in typing the message, and I'll try and catch it on the side. And then obviously we can always have a chat afterwards. Okay, it is hard. So Hemi is on Binance. This one looked very interesting to me, so I pulled that one. And also another one another indication that I've been looking at. So of course, once price reaches your fair value gap, it's always good to watch how it responds in this area to see as to, look, if Ethereum, for instance, is close. Usually they've either moved away from it or are going to move to it or close to it and claim a little bit of the fair value gap. So for scalps to look around this area, I've noticed is quite an interesting place to look for if you want to look for a quick 5-minute. Obviously, your longer trades would be from the 2 corners. I would recommend. Okay, so Hemi and Bard we can have a look at as well. Let's just see if it's in a swing. So Hemi, it's actually identified candle 3 on the 1 hour. So it means it's moved quite a bit. Look, it's moved drastically. It's wonderful. Um, Jelly as well. It was in the middle. I took Jelly. Let's just take a fresh version of this. Sorry. Okay, so on your daily, to okay, let's have a look at another. So swing points. Pump BTC. It's had a swing high. That was a very interesting one yesterday. See Seth actually post that one. C3 candle. So this one's made a massive move already. So I've got it there, but I'll show you. H. Low RSI. So I've noticed the RSIs aren't as high or low today. So I've recently, I think yesterday or the day before, um, I pulled out a few tokens. I think RSI was like 7 or 8 on the low and 96 or 93 or something. Those ones are usually very, very close to reversal points. Obviously, the market makers like to enter these positions. So yeah, to work and chart them out, wait for them to sweep over those resistance or support levels, and watch for a manipulation move are always good. A good place to look. I love them. So very, it's a lot of action generally. So let me have a look to see what else. The heard a bit about Aster today on chats. Actually, I don't know. Can't remember who it was from. I think it was from Organic Joe. A, yes, apologies. I didn't actually pick the name properly. Aster. Aster. Yeah, very new. I have very little data to work with, but we can check it out. OG, why did I put OG? Okay. BSU, this was the one that I did 3 trades on the other day. I'll actually try and go over some just to show you. Yeah, let's start with that for now. Okay, so BTC I put here, of course, just always good to know what BTC is doing. It's indicating that it's bullish. There we go. You can see it's bounced off a weekly support 2 level. It's got a daily fair value gap just above it as well, so obviously to claim. Don't know if it has claimed and then retraced. So weekly narrow showing RSI 51, so smack in the middle. 1 hour bias, it's showing high reversal. So it must have swept and now it's reversing. 4 hour, same thing. Daily, same thing. Let me see what news we can find. Whales go negative. Okay. So it's showing bullish divergence on the higher time frame. Of course, your fair value gap is just above it as well. And it's closer to your support system. So it does indicate a potential retracement and potential to the downside based on news and just how it looks here. So just this, usually everything's following what this is doing. So that's a good indication of, don't get involved if everything's going up. Hemi, um, what did we get out of here? So proximity, still new. RSI 78, so it's strong indication of potential overbought. Swept weekly R2 levels. Here's an R3. Haven't got any month. There's the monthlies actually. But I mean, it's broken through everything. It hasn't actually been a month. It's just for this month. Okay, so weekly bias continuation high, daily bias continuation high, RSI level 78. So this one is at some point wanting to come and turn back at some point. This I took from the 1 hour swing formation. So this is where it's showing. If you have a look at it on the 1 hour, there we go. You'll see what that shows. And that's why it shows that candle formation. So it depends where you get that candle formation as well. So this has swept your daily resistance 3 levels, your weekly resistance 2 levels. And let's have a look. It hasn't done a strong break to the downside. So it's got a fair value gap on your 1 hour time frame, your 5 minute 1 hour. So it looks like it's bounced off and started accumulated a little bit. So it's bouncing in between these two resistance points. Being that it's RSI levels are still low enough in order for a little bit more adoption of price. I would wait to, obviously you would need some form of confirmation. So obviously a break, a manipulation and a strong break over this area, or an opposing level, but your opposing levels here unfortunately are only going to be over here, which would be quite late in the trade. So I would try to see, yeah, so it's done a break, but it's accumulating at the same time. Charting with this. So I definitely try to see if, for instance, how price starts to respond if it breaks above that, if it starts to break in strength below this resistance 3 line as well. Well, otherwise, anticipation for a higher entry for on the outsides, the market makers like to enter on the outsides. But I think this one would be a close one. It did spring off a daily pivot, super narrow pivot. So yeah, and it swept the R3 levels, of course, which generally is your extreme points. So you've got your equilibrium as well. So if candle closes below there, could be a good indication of price reversal if it does. Okay, leave it for you guys to determine. Jelly, why did I put jelly here? Very strong swing on the weekly. I mean, you had massive expansion in the last 2 weeks. Price obviously has to at some point come down. So it's actually showing that prices on RSI is low. So it's on a 29. So this is indicating that price is running out and it's reaching support system as well, which is interesting. So it's made in expansions, retracing a little bit. And remember, this is based on the last 14 daily candles. That's how the support system is created. So tomorrow might indicate differently, depending on how the price moves in that day. So every day you got to check just to see where those support and resistance levels are. Monthly resistance is at 207, 2075 for Hemi. I moved past that one. Sorry, man, I didn't see that at the same time. Two 2075. Yeah, that's 2075. Yeah, there we go. Yep. Okay, cool. Yeah, so this is indicating that now RSI is it's obviously claiming weekly fair value gap. So this would be where, in my anticipation, that you would see some form of manipulation or movement. So I'd watch to identify any of either these, or if you could work with opposing levels, opposing candle levels, just to see where you get your most areas of consistencies. So somewhere over here. So watching price over here somewhere just to see if there's an extremity of um, a strong movement to the downside, then to the up would be that AMD movement. In a bit of a confusion on the weekly bias, of course, because its price is chopping over it. And uh, proximity to previous week low is okay. Fair value gap to 50%. So it's actually achieving the weekly fair value gap. That's yeah. There's the weekly fair value gap. There's below it, of course, that huge expansion. Cool. I'll leave that for you guys there. Okie dokie. See, this one kept popping up as well. So this was RSI 81. It had a bit of an expansion movement up there. It's gone into the middle in between the support and resistance zones. So still potential movement to the upside. Show on the weekly, it's got a strong swing point on the higher time frame. Let's have a look here. Previous week high, previous week low, previous day high, previous week low. Okay, bullish divergence on the 12-hour. Weekly bias reversal. Of course, prices above. And divergence on the 12-hour. Cool. So this one obviously looks like it's indicating that it wants to at some point still go down and claim. That's based on the data. So here we go. Got some fair value gap down the bottom here as well. Done a great expansion, collected some liquidity. But of course, you need to just find those opposing levels, or your TDIX, for instance, just to see where you can find your extreme divergence on your time frame that you're looking for, and then you can always just do your entry. Okay, I'm going to go through that. Now, this one was the interesting one for me personally. I actually managed to get an entry, that's strong movement over this resistance level over here. Got an entry and I exited it down the bottom. I think I got like 300 and something percent. And then I exited over here somewhere in the 1 hour, on the 1 hour opposing level. And price shot up again. Once price returned, I'd use the opposing levels again. And then I think I did an entry. Price came down. I did an entry somewhere over here. And then I did a sell. I sold 3 times on this one, and I think in total it was probably about 600. So you can actually, if you see price is quite volatile over and it's just, how can I say, reacting quite strongly over the resistance levels and also opposing levels as well, you can do multiple entries. If I had left it from this point to go down too far, it actually would have swept me out. So I managed to get out, And then once they got an entry again, got out. Um, but yeah, it's obviously quite risky depending on how you're trading. You need to be catch it quite carefully. Um, I mean, that's just how I prefer to do it, you know. The SMC, of course, you must wait for the high time frame. But the strong moves for me, the AMD um, is, yeah, is the thing I'm looking for. How leverage you used on BSU? Okay, so I did a high leverage. I think I used about a 20. Um, and look at these points, I mean, when I do high leverages, I think maximum I do is like a $50 because it is a very risky, and I also don't keep too much into my um, and this isn't something, of course, I recommend, and it's not how you trained is all. It's just what I did. So I always put a certain budget in, and I make sure that, if it does move, I always use the swing point as, an indication of where price shouldn't return to. But once it's made a large enough move, I'm willing to exit. But I always exit where, in close proximity to an opposing candle. But if you're looking, of course, on a very volatile coin, it's quite dangerous to do. Um, it's quite dangerous to do a high leverages, of course, in this situation, especially when it was showing these like extreme movements. It liquidates you very, very easily as well. So, but I don't know, perhaps I got lucky, or I was really watching it closely, so I was understanding its movement. I could see clearly when it did its move and retraced, and then I entered. So, of course, you trade as you are taught, and what you fit with. Seth teaches the right way to do things and the safe way to do things, and it makes it easy to understand what it's doing. And you, of course, then make a choice on how you wish to trade. Some people like doing the limit orders. Some people like to dollar cost average. I mean, those aren't part of the SMC, but there are ways, to work in conjunction. Anyhow, this one was a very interesting token for me. I was very pleased with it. There's just sometimes there's certain tokens that no matter how much you trade on them, it just doesn't work for you specifically. And then there's other ones that just seem to work all the time. So BSU is one that BSU and ARU for me are two of my favorites actually. Anyhow, so let me just get to why I'm put it here. So it's still within the okay, it's at 62 RSI at the moment now. So basically it's done its move. It's obviously balanced out and it's averaged out where your support systems are. So it's still in resistance areas. You'll see your weeklies have moved up a bit higher. If you look on the lower time frame, you can see. So there you've got your daily resistance 3 and your weekly resistance 2 levels. So now they've moved. Price is currently on top of the daily pivots that are inside the weekly pivots. So as you can see there on the 1 hour price, if it closes on this, would be a good indication of price towards the upside, according to Trendex. Of course, do your TA, be comfortable with your trading. There are also, if you have a look at your support areas as well, your support positions are fairly close as well. I don't know. Personally, I've seen whenever they're very close, it it is usually somewhere that the market makers like to make a strong move over these areas. So yeah, just have a watch on this one. It does show that it's bullish, if I'm not mistaken. Where did it go? Oh no, sorry. I think. Oh, there we go. Apologies for that. Oh, it doesn't actually say. Let's have a look to see if it does say now. Hemi's coming down a little. Um, let's see if I can find it. Just want to see variation. Just want to see if it's on the store. No. No, it's moved off now. Okay, so it's obviously been replaced by other tokens that are moving more at the moment. So I can't get an update on that, unfortunately. But it is obviously by your monthly resistance 3. So these are always areas that I really, really enjoy. So here's your monthly resistance 3, monthly resistance 2, hovering around this area, of course, but it's now developed a new weekly and daily resistance levels above as well. Yeah, just a one. I put it there because I personally like it. Let me move on to this one. Let me see why I put it here. So it was showing bearish divergence on a high time frame. RSI is 60, so it's obviously an indication that price has already started to move down. It actually didn't break the 1 hour opposing candle level. So you've got your upper opposing candle level, your downside opposing candle level. It's formulated another downside opposing candle level as well. But it is on your weekly resistance 3. It's above your weekly resistance 3, and you've got your daily resistance 3 level up here. So it is in extreme continuation to the upside on the high time frames, and that's in your daily bias. And divergence is showing bearish. Okay. Weekly pivots, bias, lows, continuation, reversal on the high. And this is still continuation on the high because it's above here. So it's in a bit of accumulation here. I would like personally, and of course it's bounced off. You can see the narrows here. It's where it bounced before, and now I've got another narrow that it's bounced off here as well. If you've got a narrow on your daily, so it's fairly narrow. Usually, this is your most extreme level for your daily levels, resistance 3. You could usually expect it to reach halfway between resistance 1 and resistance 3. So I would wait for more movement, especially with that RSI, and then indications of manipulation and reversal. So I'll leave that for you there. Okay, this one I pulled off. I pulled this one in just to make a little difference, and I actually showed it there as well. This one was your proximity level, so your price being in the fair value gap, just to see how you can use that aspect of the tool as well. So if you like to trade out within the key areas in the fair value gap, is usually a good place, of course, as a key level, because it's the one thing these books always have to balance. Supports are, like supports and the resistance are all estimates and based on the last 14 days. So they're not as definite as what like a fair value gap is. A fair value gap is a fact that it is in imbalance in the books. It has to be balanced. That is a guaranteed, it's a certainty. The resistance and support can be broken. The fair value gap cannot go away until it's recovered. So just to understand like which levels are more important than the others, just something I, kind of comprehended, and I was like, wow, what, actually, it's a good way to see it. I hope that helps. Okay, RSI level 30, weekly bias high, reversal, such reverse there. Looks like small movement compared to what it has been. It was a massive movement. So this one's indicating that it's on the lower side, but of course this high indication here is what will make the RSI seem extremely low. It is in between the two support systems, just not on your monthly, of course. So it's in your monthly resistance 2 and resistance 3 levels here. And yeah, it's inside your daily fair value gap, your daily fair value gap at the moment. So that was just something I wanted to show. It does have fair value gap, extreme expansion, of course, to the upside. So I just wanted to show you how this worked if you had to pick a token from the center. Okay, unlink. I wanted to show you this one as well. Quite sure. I don't know if you guys saw in the group. I put it in the group yesterday as a joke. Um, but apparently this one got hacked. Over 11 million stolen and obviously dumped. So I think, yeah, what was it? They minted more coins or something like that. I can't remember. But yeah, that's actually why or what happened. So this one just crumbled, unfortunately. But yeah, if you wanted to trade this one, I mean, these are, very, very rare, or not rare, but like strange conditions too. I don't know if people like trading on them. I just put it here. The data will show what it does. This one obviously pulls a lot of indications that, it should go bullish. I wouldn't personally trade it because it's, with what's happening behind the scenes, I wouldn't, I wouldn't trust it. I think people are obviously still trying to claim a little bit and they'll probably dump it further, in my anticipation. But yeah, I'll leave it there. Pump. This is the one Seth actually showed you yesterday. I actually got caught by this one. There's something about Seth's uh whenever he gives me a signal, especially when we were doing training, like I'd be doing very well on my own, getting along with, my TA and my analysis on everything. And then he would show me something and I get very excited and it always indicates like, yeah, it's gonna go. But for some reason I always get knocked out. So yeah, I'm not sure how anybody else grabbed it, but he did post, and it's been a while since he's posted a signal or a setup inside the group, which was pretty cool. He said he's going to be doing it more often as well. This one I was just showing just to see, because he picked it up and obviously he was waiting for that manipulation move. He was like coming up manipulation, so he identified it in the trend line. But this one was a pure, you can see exactly, but it was so manipulated. That's a massive entry. And obviously that indication now. So I only pulled this out just to show you exactly what, like on a very low volume token with a large entry price on the outsides would look like. So, and it would look, I mean, this is an extremity of it, but it has to fall to the downside. So this is a strong indication of that AMD over the high resistance areas. So not to trade on, of course, that was just to show you guys. So I'll take it off there. But of course, you can always go and have a look yourself. DEX we pulled up just now. Let's have a look why we pulled this one up. DEX doesn't show on swings. So I'm just trying to find. I always take the data and I put it on there. Just if you pull a few tokens, you can just try and remember why you looked at it. It's good to just get the gist of what's happening. Let me see if I got it here. There's a lot more showing on Binance, to be honest. DEX. No, so seems like it's made a move already. Can't find it in here. I'll let it load. Let's just move to the last one there quickly. Okay, yes, sir. So I saw there was quite a bit of chatter in the group on this one. That's why I pulled it out. I figured let's have a look, see what it indicates. You got so it's a fairly new. Got a break to the upside. and your opposing candle level. So it's broken through. If this can use as a support, then obviously it would show an indication for continuation. It's still very bullish. And of course, because these are all-time highs and there's no previous data, it makes these market makers obviously like to, how can I say, just take advantage of the fact that you don't really have much information to go on. And if anything, the higher and higher it goes, the more and more attractive it becomes. So it's very trappy. It happens over and over and over again. It's literally the oldest trick in the book. RSI is 69 today. It was in the 80s yesterday, I think. Moved 23% in the last 24 hours. Continuation, daily high, 4 hour on the high. It is now on a reversal on the weekly, the previous week high, but that's going to change shortly, it looks. So it's tapped into it, reversed, but yeah, not very strong. So an indication of a reversal, of course, would look like over this would have been your resistance levels yesterday. So a strong indication of a break to the downside. You always want to look for that sharp entry, but it has to be a strong movement over a key area, not just in the middle of nowhere. It has to be a reason why it's done it in that area. So why did a market maker want to enter in this position? So this resistance, of course, will be all based on the data for the last few days. This indicates that there are liquidity levels of interest in the order books as well. Okay, so previous week high, of course, as you can see, fair value gap, this would be below. Continuation on the daily, it's high for our bias, RSI 69. So I think there would be another steal somewhere up here. But whether it drops completely or whether it just does a small pullback, I would only then use your weekly levels. So I like to use my 1 hour opposing candle levels. So you can see where price responds to it as well. Responds, broke, and then continues to the upside. So this is, of course, the opposing candle CISD levels when you don't actually want to wait for the higher time frame. The opposing candle levels can be those CISD levels. All in the SMC training there. Have a look. AMD opposing, they're my favorite. Trendex and those two are everything for me at the moment. I don't know if I can or want to learn anymore, but they've been great for me. Okay, so I think I've gone over most things. I actually did quite a bit of. Let me just see if there's anything else I wanted to bring up. Going over some notes quickly. No, that's pretty much it. I think I got it all in there. I just want to, just ask some questions if anyone's got something to have a look at maybe, or anything about the tool itself. Any questions? From. Cool. So look. Let's see. Is there anything on, I don't know where you got this one from. I like to get the information from here until we can get that scanner thing. Okay. Yeah, it's responding to this level here. Interesting. Okay, let's have a look. Sees. So it's claimed fair value gap. Your daily. So look at your week. Actually claimed your fair value gap in the week. It's actually in order block, in your weekly order block. There's a little bit of a fair value gap and an order block just below as well. That's unclaimed. You can just mark that. So 2 areas of interest, but it has claimed quite a bit already. So it's broken so here's your resistance, your weekly resistance 3 level here. And it's actually bounced off it. Sorry, your support level. And it broke it and now it's bounced what day today. Let's have a look here. So yeah, weekly levels, it broke the weekly levels, claimed a little bit of the fair value gap. Now it's in a bit of accumulation. It's trading slow. See what else we can have a find of. So it's got a massive fair value gap as well. This is the daily fair value gap above it. So price, obviously, when it expands, likes to retrace and then continue to the downside, or obviously then do a complete reversal. It claims, yeah, so its prices come back, match now, and of course could then continue to the upside. Without me knowing, I can't actually tell you the RSI. See, this is why I actually like the EAX. I'll do those as well. There's two. This is why I like the EAX because it gets to tell me like I can see where the RSI is, for instance, and I can see if there's divergence. I can see what it swept, but just to do the TR on this actually takes so much longer as well. So without being able to tell you, more, I'd have to do quite a bit of work, unfortunately. But it does look like yeah, that's a massive movement there. So compared to that, of course, it's in a bit of accumulation. It's now claimed a bit of the lower fair value gap. It's presented a high fair value gap, and I'm sure there's majority. Look at this fair value gap here. It's monstrous stuff above it. So yeah, could be potentially looking to go to the upside, but I would need more information there, like I said, and without going into too much detail. Yeah, I'll just say have a look for those general confluences based on the EAX, the EA stuff. Okay, form. Let's have a look at that. I've also heard the groups speak quite a bit about form as well. Swap. So I'm going to take prompt off here just because I don't have any data to give it from EAX. I'd like it just to, if I can find it, then yeah, it's better just to leave it for the group as well to have a look. So I just want to refresh this now as well. And then, yeah, Darren, we'll have a look at this UVN as well. Okay, let's see what we got. I'll see we've got CVN here. We can actually take this one. But that's along. Form. Where are you? Abdul, where are you finding these things? A bunch up here and so on. Gonna just check, yeah.
Yeah, it's at the bottom there somewhere. There you go.
Okay, I see. All right. So form is on the chart. Bottom here somewhere. Am I missing something here? Yeah, here we go. So yeah, it'll be nice when we can get that search thing going there. It's coming. It will come. But yeah, look, I mean, I can't trade without this thing, to be honest. It's makes my life so much easier. We ended up with this there. Just want to see this current one. No. Yeah. So it's showing bullish on the higher time frame. Monthly resistance 3. The indicators are still loading, so it's not showing it at the moment. RSI 33, but monthly resistance 3, which means the weekly is going to be lower than your monthlies. Continuations, all just falling down. As you can see, it's falling off the map. I don't know if there's any reason why it's falling off the map. Come on, load. Sorry, guys, there we go. See, it's burst through the monthlies. There's your weeklies now. So your weekly resistance 2, support 2, weekly support 3. But it looks completely sure. It's
There's
falling
a
everything.
combination of weekly and daily support at 1.0905, just for the price.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know why my indicators are not loading, but we'll definitely show that. So yeah, RSI 33, of course, it's heading towards something that, especially at this pace, to watch for an exhaustion as well, once it's completely oversold. It's leaving massive fair value gaps along the way. This is a massive expansion. Yeah, sorry, that's really taking so long. I don't know why. But yeah, it's broken through those monthlies. I actually don't know. Let me just have a look to see if I put my monthly on here. Pivots. I just want to see what they look like. Sorry, guys. I don't know why it's taking so long here. It does this from time to time. I've got a super. There we go. No, there's no. It's normal. Interesting. Okay, let's have a look. What else we got? Okay, so it is showing that it's got a bullish divergence on the higher time frame. It's in a continuation on the SMC at the moment. Here's your areas of interest. I don't know if there is. This is an all-time low as well. Yeah, so there's no other levels to work with, unfortunately. Divergence bullish. So obviously looking for the RSI and um, using these levels. So there's your daily support level 3 and weekly support level 2. And because you've got no data, it's not as accurate. Of course, that's all based on everything above in the last 14 days, and it creates this. This won't be as accurate because of the movement that it's made to the downside. So if anything, I would look to see around these areas. This is just what I've noticed for all-time highs and lows. And watching the RSI levels as well as it along the way. So what I like to do along the way, of course, I always look for those manipulation areas. So like again, this would be a very, very good indication. Area of interest for me. But you want to look for that strong like entry manipulation move as well as you go along to work off your 1 hour level. So every time it forms, move to the downside, and then it does a retracement. If it breaks it down to the downside, then it's an indication that it's a move going again to the downside, and then vice versa as well to the upside. So, for instance, here using opposing candle level, there we go. So this would be to see how price responds. Does it reject and use it as a support? And then once it creates a bit of a resistance or manipulation move, then you know you can. That's the only way to kind of determine a using SMC. There's only way to determine to see if price is actually reversing or not. So yeah, I got the same issue. SMC not loading. Yeah, look, sometimes you just need to actually refresh your whole browser, just clear cookies and stuff. I've got quite a few open, so it does happen. Um, but yeah, so Bill, based on that, as it breaks to the downside as well, if you can find those, V-shaped looking movements where it breaks a key level, breaks an opposing level or whatever, once it nears the lower RSI or the higher RSI generally. So that's all about trading from the outside in. That's ICT, following the trading style of market makers. So keep marking it along the way and just watch how price responds over those levels, because that's all you've got to go by at this point. Cool. I'll leave that there as well because that's an interesting one. Okay. Let's load form. Here we go. And this one loaded faster. Gosh. Alrighty. So form RSI 55 is pretty in the middle. It's obviously done a massive expansion. So there's your reverse and your swing point. Previous day low. Swept your weekly resistance 2 level. In confusion on the 1 hour bias at the moment. Normal supply to weekly fair value gap 13%, support and resistance. Obviously, it's on a support. So this would be you probably looking for something to the downside. If I'm not mistaken, Darren? Were you looking for a short here? Correct, yeah. Okay. So let's have a look anyway. What we could do. So there's your 1 hour opposing candle level, which seems to be on the same level as previous day high or low, and also your equilibrium line as well. So you can see it keeps on, breaking, but then retraces as well. So you had a strong manipulation to the upside, and here's a break to the downside. This could have been a retracement, but if you have a look, that's on the 1 hour, I suppose. So here we go. That would have been a great retracement, but here's your equilibrium level. Candle close above the equilibrium level generally indicates but it is moving to the downside. Yeah, so this formation on the 4 hour, 15-minute it does look very good for, and that's probably, I know you like that 15-minute, 4 hour time frame. And this formation, I know, knowing you, speaking to you a lot, that's your one. So look, very, very strong indication on SMC for that, and obviously you've got a lot of expansion as well. So there's a lot of liquidity to claim below. My only hesitance, and this is me personally, and of course, it's just based on how I do the trading, is if, for instance, it does do a turn to the downside because of the RSI being 55, yeah, I don't think there would be much movement. So if you had to catch this, you would have to catch it quite like pristine and create those like high levels. For instance, if it did a sweep and then strong to move to the downside on another level, you would get a better entry point to do a smaller scalp trade. However, this, for instance, I mean, it could drop. You never know. I mean, no one knows what anything's going to do, but that RSI 55 just indicates that, there's not too many times that things move too far in that position in only one direction. So, yeah, personally, I would, yeah, I mean, watch the price to see, and obviously just put your opposing candles. And when it does break, like it's breaking, your opposing candle is retraced, for instance, do another opposing candles, do an entry, and just trade in between opposing candles for now. Give it a try. And then just see how price responds at that point. Take a little bit out. If it does seem like it's going to continue, if it's going to retrace, then obviously you would know it would claim a bit higher. But yeah, that's just my feedback on that one.
Thank you.
Yeah, all good, bro. Good. Okay. Okay, guys. If there are any more questions, I can answer. I've got about another 10 minutes at max. Otherwise, if everyone's happy, I'll share the recording and the list for later.
Great session. Thank you, Magdi. Have a good day.
Okay, awesome. All right, guys, thanks very much. I'll put the recording up, I'll share the list, and everybody, yeah, just ask any questions if you have anything new. Thanks for all the input you guys are putting into the group as well. It's really nice to see the activity, and please, yeah, just continue. And it's helping a lot of the new members, especially. Take it easy. Cheers, everybody.
Thank you.